Paul, the only thing Paul did was point toward Jesus.
Yeah.
He never lifted himself up.
That's
Yeah.
right.
He was, a lot of times he put himself down and he was pointing toward Christ the whole time. And so the false gospel's talking about Paul. It got me riled up yesterday thinking about this because Paul did nothing but try to hit churches, plant churches, build Christ's kingdom. He did what God called him to do.
Nowhere in Paul's writings have I got the notion of anything where Paul was trying to pull people to Jesus just to glorify himself. And that's what a false prophet's going to do. They're going to tell you to follow Jesus, but they're going to say, you can't get there unless you go through me.
Paul had social status before he was converted on the road to Damascus. He had went before the leaders to get permission to go persecute Christians and kill Christians. He had high statues. He was of value. He was considered a leader. And he went from being a leader to being criticized, to being beat, to being persecuted, to be... How many people have you ever seen that said something to bring theirself down to it, or done something to bring theirself down to a Lord? If it was just something he had done on his own, when they were beating him, he'd have been like, look, I'm lying, guys.
Yeah, I'm just playing.
I'm just playing.
Hey, something else I'd like to ask that guy that done that video. Why would somebody that used to kill Christians for a living and persecute those who believed and wanted to follow Jesus, why would you want to start promoting Jesus and be willing to die for Jesus unless you actually had an encounter with Jesus?
I mean, at any point you could have turned away and not died.
Right.
I mean, got shipwrecked. I mean, anytime he could have quit.
Yeah. He could
Whenever
have went
they
back
told
in
him
his
no-
old ways at any time.
Yeah, at
He
any
chose not
time.
to.
He was like, he got on a ship. He went at what a goal to go to before Caesar. He had this whole entire thing that he was going towards. And at any point, he could have been like, I carried this long enough. No, he just kept on carrying it. We talked about this on the podcast before that, these disciples, the truth about the gospel is these guys were willing to give their whole entire life.
Their life. That's right.
And wouldn't deny Jesus,
Nope.
even unto death. They had a choice, like, you can just deny Jesus and we'll let you live. And no, we're,
It'd be, when they told him, they're like, don't you say the name of Jesus no more. Don't you talk about Jesus. Paul would look at him, Jesus, 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 Jesus. And whenever they start saying Jesus.
Yeah, you need to be wary of people like this that you see.
That are false prophets.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. That are false prophets. Test the fruits of who you're listening to.